Well, hello, everybody. You're very welcome back to Leeds Bros. Hope everybody is keeping and doing well. And as you can see, we're joined by a very special guest, the captain of the winning Creator Cup team, Joe from the JustJoe football show. Joe, thanks very much for joining us. Hope you're keeping well.
Yeah, pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on, lads. I think this is my debut, maybe.
It's the first time, first time having you
Yeah,
on amongst all the chaos. We're on yours a good bit as well, but this is your first time on us. But it's an absolute pleasure to have you on, I do have to say.
Yeah, great, man. Great. And obviously you get to have a look at the trophy in the background.
Yeah, that's what you said. I'll bring up the Creator Cup so you can use it. Halfway through.
It had gone until you brought it up.
No, what I said, it's a pleasure to have you on. So, yeah, we're just going to go through Leeds United transfer window. As you can see up there at the top, summer of chaos, I think, is the only way to put it. We had all the trills and spills and the ups and downs through the course of the transfer window. So, we're going to get Joe's thoughts on it. As always, we'll get Dylan as well, a couple of his thoughts as well, because we didn't get his after deadline day, after he was very frustrated. I think you're hiding under the bed, Dylan, ever since
deadline day. Look at my hairline. Just thinking about it. Honestly, pulling my hair out.
Before we do go into it, guys, though, you will see down the bottom right-hand corner there, Mighty from Imagine Not Being Leeds is doing a charity walk tomorrow from Old Trafford to Ellen Road. I think it's 42 miles altogether, Joe, is it? If I'm right, I think he said 42 miles.
So is that tomorrow, is it?
He said it was tomorrow, yeah. So if you scan that QR code there, he's doing it for two charities. One is for Andy Man Club and the other is for Leeds Autism. I think he said that it was, guys. So if you can, please make sure you go show your support to Mighty over there and donate anything that you can. He will have a couple of bits across the social media tomorrow, so keep an eye out if you want to follow him on that journey. But Joe, let's get into it anyway. I think we'll start right from the very start of the transfer window when it all looked so promising for Leeds United, which ultimately turned into an absolute disaster towards the end of it. How did you rate or what did you think of it all?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think it started really, really well, and progressively got worse, I think. Especially with the comments that were made after the fact. I mean, we'll probably get into that, but I think there's a lot of lies and stuff going on, and a lot of backslapping for jobs not finished, in my opinion. But yeah, look, it started promising. I think, did we have maybe 6 or 7 in for the Germany pre-season where Farke likes to take them away? So I guess from that perspective, it started really well, but I can't help but get away from the fact that there's gaping holes in the forward line for me. But yeah, I mean, look, if we maybe stand back a little and assess it, like, I don't know if you could somehow flip the window around, would we be happy at the end? I don't know, but I just, yeah, I'm not pleased about it. I guess I can't. I'm trying to. Don't get me wrong. So I hate to be like, oh, it's over, but it was just poor ending, weren't it?
Really poor. I even think though, like, because it was the same question as well of a lad in work that works with the Leeds fan as well, and he said the same thing about flipping the window. If it started off slow and it finished like that, he feels that it would have felt a little bit better. But I don't think it would, Joe, because for the last 3 transfer windows, we've known that we've needed creative players. Ever since Georgie left, we haven't replaced Georgie at all. And we've heard Farke saying for the last 3 windows he wants that creative player, and we still haven't given it to him. And yeah, I think deadline day was kind of the catalyst of the whole thing, wasn't it? When it was kind of the scramble for Gus Hamer, for Emi Buendia, they made out that Harry Wilson was one of their top targets as well. We will get into a little bit of Robbie Evans's Q&A as well. But as you said, ultimately, it just turned in with something that started off so good. I think we recruited in good areas. Look, you're overall with the recruitment that we did get in Perry, Stack, Bial. What we did get in, what do you make of them?
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, there's some now I question, like, because of the lack of business in the forward areas. Like, I look at, say, someone like Bornau. I know I've only seen him for a short period, but I thought he looked terrible against Sheff Wednesday. But like the key additions, I think Stack's a great addition for sure. I think that's a top addition. He looks at home in the Premier League. I do like Goodmanson. I've been really, really chuffed with Gabby Goodmanson's start to time at Leeds United. The keeper is anything's an improvement on Mez, if we're being honest, isn't it? So that's important. Biol, again, I don't think he was great against Wednesday, but it's hard for me to judge. He comes in with a lot of promise. And I think that Longstaff
just, as well, yeah.
standard, isn't he, though? He's good. He's a Premier League pro. He's going to give us 7 out of 10 each week kind of vibe, you know. But what I do say, like going through that, it's only really Stack that excites me, though, if you know what I mean. There isn't anyone where I go, wow, you know.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there with Stack as well. From what we've seen of him, looks very, very good. And I think at the minute, I think he's our most creative player, and I think he's like 9 or 10 chances created so far. At the minute, I think he's just under Bruno Fernandes as well. So I think without a shadow of a doubt, he looks like the star signing at the minute. As you said, I think there's a few in there. I like the look of Good Munson as well. I think he's very well balanced in attack and defence, which we know that with Firpo, we didn't really have it defensively wise, but definitely does look like an upgrade on Firpo as well. But as you said, look, I think overall what we did bring in was decent enough, but it seemed like it was split out, didn't it, from the Peugeot situation from when we were kind of first linked to them till after. We seemed to be fully zoning in on you know as well as a creator. It seemed like we were talking about Peugeot every day. There was a constant new update that he's coming, he's not coming, wage deals, he was holding off, etc. But it kind of felt like after, I don't know what your thoughts, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it felt like after Peugeot that we'd no direction, we didn't know where we were going, what we were doing. The club kind of empty-handed.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I think they'd sort of got in their head that they were going to get Paixão and that they were going to get Muniz as well. I think he falls into that category. They obviously had decent discussions at the start of the window, but like with anything like football, you know, especially transfers, they can change at the drop of a hat. And I just don't think they pivoted well enough. I don't think I mean, we saw from the article that they said they were happy that they got to 50-50 between Leeds and Marseille for Paixão. That's embarrassing for me, you know, like to even think, oh, well, at least we got him down to 50-50. Oh, nice one. Do you know what I mean? He's still playing in a Marseille shirt. It don't make sense. And like you said, it almost feels that they'd run out of targets. So we're then trying to do things on the fly. We didn't really get any proper links really after that point. A few names.
I think with Johnny Rowe a couple of hours after, and I remember watching your stream after that, and you were like, it was nonsense because it did feel like after that, and we seen it through the summer window that Leeds were linked with anyone, and a lot of it was agent talk. But I feel like after that being linked with Johnny Rowe, it was very lazy links after that as well. But and Dylan, same question is to you as well, is that I felt like after Peugeot that possibly we might have had other targets, you know, or second or third targets, but by the time the Peugeot situation sorted itself out, that our targets after them were probably gone elsewhere that we'll probably never know about at this stage.
Let's go back to what you said, Darren, a couple of weeks ago. You know, it seemed to be probably the agents, you know, blowing smoke up Leeds, more or less, you know, giving them false hope. And then that narrative with Peugeot, and for all of us thinking that he was going to come. But I think the most frustrating thing is that Leeds didn't have a plan B. I think that for me, that's what it is. You know, the loose names that we were linked with, they didn't really have the same kind of talent or, you know, that Stardust quality we were all talking about that Peugeot had. And then, you know, we were fishing in the right waters. To be honest with you, it was just too good to be true. That's just the way it is. Seeing these players being linked with Leeds United, and look, as people are familiar with the show. Now, I'm a League One and Championship Leeds fan. I never got to see Leeds in the Premier League. So for me to be linked with big names like that, it was, you know, surreal. So I think they genuinely got it wrong along the lines when they were just holding out for players to say, yeah, you know, I'm waiting, and look, we haven't got time to wait, and this is the punishment to it.
Yeah, I agree. Do you believe, Joe, because obviously we'll go on to Robbie Evans's Q&A a little bit, do you believe the whole PSR thing? Because there's parts of it there where you look with the loan deals towards the end. Do you think they know what they were doing about saying we'll go for loan, make it look like if it doesn't come through, we'll say we're on the brink of PSR? Because some of it doesn't add up. 10 million on James Justin, it doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it doesn't, mate. Because then I think it was put to them, well, what would have happened had you assigned Muniz or Paixão? And they said, oh, well, we wouldn't have had the rest of the players then. And that just... So when you bid for Muniz at the start of the summer, had that been accepted, what you're telling us that you'd have only been able to bring in 2 more or something? It just doesn't add up. And if that is your full outlay, if you have spent it all, 100 mil, right, then why are you spending 5 million on it on Bornau, 10 million of it on James Justin, when, if we're being honest, if you wanted to maximise it, I know it's not great, but you could go, well, we've got Stroud, Beal and Rodon. If worse comes to worse, we can drop Ampadu in there. We've got Byram as a backup. If worse comes to worse, we played Harrison at left back. We can also play Stroud there. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather
Yeah.
they did that and have 15 million available to go get someone on the right wing than do that. So I just don't think it makes sense, mate, if I'm being totally
Especially
honest.
when they know they were on the brink with, because obviously our last two
Yeah.
signings was a James Justin and Okafor. And look at
Yeah.
for me, the question mark is over Okafor. I've got some people telling us in our chat that he's gonna rip it up. I'm not too sure. His injury record from what I've seen and when he had played Champions League football, he doesn't really stand out. I'm not sure if he's a massive upgrade on Manar Solomon of last year. We'll see. Only time's gonna tell. I hope he is, of course we do, because we're Leeds fans, but going back to it, it's why are you going spending that money on James Justin and Okafor if you know you're on the brink of PSR and they're not really the players that you need or the players that you want? So it does feel like a little bit foolish. So I think from the Q&A for me, there's definitely parts in there that doesn't add up, doesn't really make sense. The match doesn't add up as what they say. So trying to pull the wool kind of over the fans' eyes a little bit, Joe. And of course they're not going to come out and, you know, hold their hands up realistically and say, yeah, we got it completely wrong, we fucked it, Eddie. They're always going to say, they're always going to try and cover themselves, really.
It's like with like, let's not forget, before the Everton game, the owner of the football club was saying, we know that all the business gets done in the latter stages, but that we didn't do any deals. So what you're telling us is that he was lying then, and because you'd already maxed out. Do you know what I mean? So it just doesn't make sense. Plus, we tried to get Wilson over the line. So
do you know what really annoyed me, to be fair? Just going back to it, me and Darren, you kind of said it all the time throughout the summer. Where is the outgoings? Where, you know, you said it loads of times, including myself. You know, we wouldn't be surprised to see Pascal Stroke leaving. You couldn't, you know, even Ramazani, you know, Aronson, you know, just a big, you know, like a good starter for Leeds that would kind of free up PSR. And we didn't see that. And then the time then, obviously, with Patrick Bamford, obviously, his contract being terminated, silly, because now we've no one to fill his shoes. You get rid of Ramazani on loan, no one to fill his shoes. So it's kind of like you've just shot yourself in the foot for no reason. And now you're coming out with this narrative about PSR. Which, and as Joe said there, it just doesn't make sense at all.
I think as well, I read today, like, I reckon if they could have sold Harrison, they would, right? But because we paid such a high price for him, PSR, we'd probably take a hit. But with players like Strauch, even Joseph and Ramazani, right? If you're loaning them out, you could have got fees for them. Whether you agree to loan them out or not, you still could have got fees for them. Mellier's still at the football club. I mean, in his article, he said, we decided it's best for all parties if he stays. Why are you lying?
Doesn't make sense.
So you thought, we're not going to sell you, we're going to keep your fourth choice. Why would you think that? Is crazy? They gave away JB. You know what I mean? They literally gave him away and said, if you sell him in future, we want half of it. I mean, the only one deal I'll give him credit for was getting 2 million for Sam Greenwood from a team in Poland. That's the only one. I think they felt that they'd be able to sell Joffy, Greenwood, JB, Bamford, Mellier, and and only Greenwood went, right? The rest were like loans or frees or termination. So yeah, they messed up. I think big time, because it's on them as well to find them clubs, right? Do you know what I mean? So
and like there's a narrative there as well where we kind of had no choice but to kind of loan these players and let them go for free because there wasn't fees then, Joe. But it's all a knock-on effect from previous windows, not just this window either, is it? Is that the likes of your Volber, who maybe should have went, you know, last summer when he came back, you try and move him on, get a fee from him as well. Isaac Smith ended up going on a loan as well. Could we not try and recuperate something back for him? 2-3 million maybe to kind of off-put the James Justin deal a little bit. I think the outgoings has been the catalyst for us, and it's not just this window. I think it's been over the last 3 or 4 windows with Mez as well, even Bamford as well when the stock was high as well. You know, could we try and move them on last summer for some sort of fee, you know, rather than coming out to this and paying them off for a contract? So I do think the outgoings have definitely, you know, impacted on the PSR side of things, whether you believe it or not. But I believe the outgoings just haven't been good enough. And then you look on the other side, some of the outgoings that we have made, Joe, largely Ramazani. I don't know what your thoughts in it, but the loan move to Valencia looks now like a very bad move.
Very bad. I think they thought they were getting Buonanotte in, but yeah, it looks silly now because we were all going, well, how many numbers have we got in this squad? And we were trying to whittle down a 25-man squad, and it turns out we've got a 24-man squad anyway. And
4 keepers.
You know, 4 keepers exactly. So Yeah, it is. It's a massive shit show. Like, I'd rather they kept Ramazani, and you know me as well. Like, you'll have seen my takes on it. I think he's overgassed, but he's still a good player, right? He's still a good player, and would have definitely added something to this squad. The fact that they haven't replaced him, I think my biggest worry is, and I can't shake it, is just the injury records of the ones we have bought as well.
Yeah,
that's another thing. Actually, I wanted to say, Joe. Actually, just while I have you on it, is we've seen a lot of things on Twitter and certain videos as well of them coming out and saying, we really back the medical board. Do you not think that's more of a gamble to Calvert-Lewin, Okafor? It's you're buying players that are broken, more or less, and you're basically backing up the medical team that they're going to fix them.
Yeah, 100%. I don't mind that for one player. I don't mind that for Calvert-Lewin, right? Let's say, for example. But when you've got three, so let's imagine. I mean, this is obviously catastrophizing, but imagine, they break down. Let's say, and history would tell you they might do, right? If they broke down, we're then looking at James Gnonto and Pirro. Like, I would argue, our attack is weaker than it was last year.
We said that on Twitter, Joe, and I got lashed out of on Twitter. Now, half of the fan base agreed with me, and half of the fan base said, "Oh, absolutely not! You're talking nonsense." And I think some people are kind of talking about the striker end, because I think there's a confusion when you say attacking, that you just think strikers, where it's not it's your wingers, it's your creative players as well. And like, I think Meche, like, if you put him, say, against Joseph, probably now he's probably a better signing, but I think long term Joseph might have a higher ceiling. Who knows? It's she said. You're bringing in Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who on his day, if we can get a Calvert-Lewin half fit, like under Angelotti, it is a very, very good signing. And then you've Pirro and Harry Gray down after that as well. So some people were saying,
it's all relative as well, Darren.
Yeah,
it's all relative, right? So if we think about, like, in the Championship, we had Pirro, Bamford, Joseph. You then had James, Gnonto, Ramazani, and Solomon, right? So that is top tier. You then go up a division, and yes, that same however many players doesn't carry the same weight, but it is all relative. So now you go, well, we've got Pirro, Meche, Calvert-Lewin, James, Gnonto, Okafor, Aronson, Harrison. The two, it is weaker. Although it's different players, it feels weaker than what we had last year, if that makes sense.
More quality-wise, and I think we have a bit more quantity there, like that. You have Harrison back as well, and even the way Robbie Evans spoke about having Harrison back like he was a new signing and immediately wanted him into this team. I don't believe that as well, because I think his future was still very much up in the air when he came back. He would have had to have conversations with Daniel Farke as well. I think if his suitor had it came in for Harrison, I think you probably would have seen him being moved on as well. But I totally agree with you, Jared, on that one. I do feel that we are weaker, especially in them attacking areas. Striker wise, I think maybe probably just a slight upgrade, but the winger areas for me, and we've seen that against Newcastle, didn't we, lads? When you're taking off Willie Gnonto, who we know didn't have a great day, Dan James hasn't been fully at it, but you're bringing on Jack Harrison and Brendan Aronson on your winger positions. And I know Okafor was injured, but it doesn't feel good enough where you could possibly bring on, say, if you want to bring on a Harrison and a Ramazani on the other side. So you're two different players, and Ramazani get you up off your feet. You don't know what he's going to create. It just feels like pure neglect for me from the club, the way it's been handled.
Yeah, I mean, I like Jack Harrison. I think he definitely will add something in. But there is also a case to say that Ramazani in certain games could have also added something, but now we don't have that opportunity, like you've mentioned. I think for me, the glaring issues that right-hand side when our two options are James and Aronson. Now, it may well transpire that Okafor stays fit, he plays on the left, and then Gnonto and James can compete for the right starting spot. And then in certain games where you want to see them out, you might bring on Aronson, for example. But yeah, if Okafor's not fit, you've got Gnonto on the left and then James and Aronson competing for the right, which, it's just... I don't know. It might seem harsh, but I genuinely think we've got, and I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, I just think it's true. When I look across the rest of the division, I think we've got the worst attack, lads, in the Prem.
I don't think you are. Dylan, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I have to agree, to be completely honest with you, Joe. And yeah, I'll be honest, I wasn't ballsy enough to say it, but I think you're right. I genuinely think, when I see Brendan Aronson coming on the pitch, it actually just boils my blood, because I just don't understand how he fits into this team whatsoever. I don't know what position he plays, where he plays. The 10, the wing, up front, he just runs around like a headless chicken. He's an athlete. You're better off seeing him in the Olympics, if you ask me.
Tell us how you really feel, Dillo. You're
Okay,
ballsy enough to say that.
No, Joe was just at the throwing out the rod, and he reeled me right in. He did.
But it is though. Like I do think
it
there is a concern, and I just have nothing but envious. Like I'm envious of even Sunderland lads with the way that they attack that market. I'm like, for fuck, why couldn't? And I get they've got more PSR headroom and all that sort of stuff, but I can't help but go on. And I know it's a shitty response, but we're Leeds United. Like, come on.
I think it's more so, Joe, isn't it? It doesn't because like we said with the PSR, they sold obviously Bellingham and Clark as well, so they would have had PSR headroom. That's fine, but it's more so the way they conducted himself in the window is that when the boy from Chelsea was recalled, they were straight back out and they were replacing him. They were getting deals done, quick and fast. Where Leeds, it seemed to go a couple of days, very radio silent, and then ultimately what it tailed off to be. So I think it was more so that, and I don't really kind of look because I think it was 160 million they spent, we spent 100, so 115 or whatever it may be. But I don't really kind of look at it spend wise. It's more so how they conducted themselves. They acted like a Premier League club. They acted like they want to stay here. And I think that's that's where the difference is for me.
100%. Like you just mentioned there, right? So the mad thing is, they lost Mark Gouy, who had barely played. He goes back to Chelsea. They then pivot and get probably a player that's better. I genuinely look at that Brian Broby and they go, probably earlier on in the window, they go, do you know what? We'd love him, but we can't get him. He'll go somewhere else. He'll be too much, whatever it may be. And then I bet they couldn't believe the look when Chelsea said, can we have Gouy back? They probably thought, he's still available. Bush, there you go. Go back. We'll have him in. And I can't help but look across the division and just be a little bit envious. And the fact that we struggled to get Harry Wilson over the line, which I actually don't mind the signing, but it's more the frustration of making out that Fulham didn't want to sell and all this. Yeah. I'm not sure I'm convinced because that same day they signed Chukwueze and they signed Kevin, 2 wingers. They already have Adama Traore and Harry Wilson, and they tried to get Tyreek George. So they are buying wingers, and then Leeds are saying, they didn't want to sell Wilson. I'm just not sure, man.
Yeah. It's even Joe's well for me. Like when you look at, obviously he has a year left on his contract, and we initially went in with the loan deal. Like, should our recruitment team not notice that he's a year left on his contract? It's out across all the media outlets that Leeds went in for a loan deal with him, a year left on his contract. Fulham were never going to let that happen. It's little things like that.
The mad thing is
all them little signs that made you feel that he was never really a target. He was, the last kind of straw.
Yeah. There's a tweet on Fabrizio Romano's from the 20th of May, which says Harry Wilson will leave this summer. He's extended for a year, but will leave this summer, to be sold kind of thing. So it was even on Twitter, the situation. So the fact that they're not Leeds United. They weren't going to go, loan him for a year, then take him for no. Do you know what I mean? We do daft deals like that, not them. You know what I mean? It's mental.
Yeah. Ultimately, then, Joe, with it being a poor tail end to the window, it falls on Daniel Farke now to get this squad somewhat in shape and ready then for the Premier League season. What's kind of your thoughts with Farke, the uphill job now that he's going to have? Do you feel a little bit sorry from it? Is he now off the hook if it does go wrong?
I'm a big supporter of his anyway. A massive supporter of his, so it won't change my opinion. But even he said himself, he won't wave the white flag, but this is going to be tough now because ultimately, we can be difficult to beat. We've already showed that in 3 games, but you need to put the ball in the back of the net. And I just worry that, if a game's tight, it's 0-0. We don't have the X factor to be able to come away with a 1-0 win and dust our, move on. So I think what it's done, I don't know about you lads, but I've noticed a lot more support for him now. So if anything, it could have galvanized the fan base behind him even more. There seemed to be talk of him leaving. That seemed to galvanize when they were talking of him potentially going at the end of the summer. And then this again could help galvanize the support behind him because it is now a bit unfair to be. But that's the management. The thing is, the person who will carry the can for this will be the manager when really it should be Evans and Underwood. Like if they were sacked tomorrow, I wouldn't be arsed, I really dislike them.
And Barron said it as well on the square ball, and Joe, I don't know if you listened up, but he said it as well as ultimately, like that's the line, that's the way it goes. Ultimately, now that's not Farke's fault that we haven't recruited these players.
Yeah.
He's asking them. We've all heard it. After AC Milan is when he really started honing in on it. Everton, we knew the chances we had against Everton, Joe. Like we should have scored. We ended up getting a penalty. I thought we got out of jail. Arsenal, look, it's one of them things. But I was over at the Newcastle game, and you're in the ground, and you can just see it. Back line was solid, the midfield. But as soon as you get into that forward line, we were just after ideas. We couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And he's been calling for it. And as you said, now is we know what way Farke plays, and we know of the little tweak in formation. But do you think now that he is going to have to change up the way Leeds plays, maybe go a little bit long, maybe rely on set pieces a little bit more? Because to play the way Farke normally plays, creative player through the lines, we're not going to have that this season.
No, exactly. I think what's frustrated me as well, like obviously not bringing in that player, we can't change to a 4-2-3-1 either. You know, we're going to have to go 4-3-3.
Yeah.
What I noticed, like with the Newcastle game, I mean, you were there. Obviously, Eddie rid it out and then said, right, I'm going to throw my wingers on here, and he switched it up and he brought on Barnes and what's his face?
Anthony Alanga.
Yeah. And I think what Farke wanted was the opportunity to maybe drop Buonanotte or, you know, Harry Wilson into the 10, bring James on the right and go 4-2-3-1 and go after them. But now we don't have that capability because who are you going to play there? Aronson or Pirro in the 10, which neither of them are apt enough at this level for sure to see it over the line. So it just means 4-3-3, difficult to beat. I worked out there's 16 games between now and January. But even in that article, Darren, when he's talking about we don't like to do business in January, I was like, well, you better get used to it because we need it. You know,
that's what he said. And that was the one, like, there was obviously a lot in that article that made you scratch your head. But when I remember going through that, reading that, I was in work and I literally just dropped the pen and I had to go outside for a minute. And I was like, is he for real? Because I personally feel, Joe, and Dylan as well to you, like, I think if we're outside the bottom three come Christmas, January time, I think Daniel Farke has done a sensational job. I genuinely feel that's how bad this recruitment has been. But in January again, it's like it's already getting us ready that when January comes, don't expect that and we won't be doing anything, which again, it just feels naive, Joe, doesn't it? That we're missing it. So already we should be planning on January. We need to go get X player. So
to be honest, based on their record, they need about 2 years planning because apparently they planned 6 months for this. You know, 18 months even, didn't they? They said, oh, we planned after playoffs, so we were ready. Well, if this is used ready, fucking hell. If we're being honest, though, do you know what I mean? But yeah, that shows us as well why. First January under Farke, we only brought in, what was his face, the right back, Connor Roberts. The second season, we did nothing because clearly they don't like to do bits in January. We're all doing transfer window. At least now we've got a heads up that we know we won't do all. You know what I mean? Can go on holiday for a month, but they need to be ready. Like I agree with what you've said. You're making a great statement, mate. If he's got us out of the bottom three in January, he's done a great job because I think in November we play like Chelsea, City, Liverpool, something like that. So
I think from December, I think we have Liverpool around the first week, and then we have them the last week. I think the 27th, 28th, we have Liverpool. So it's going to be a very tough December as well. But I don't really mind that fixture-wise, Joe, because this is why we want to be here. This is why we went through all the turmoil of last season, is to be in the championship. But ultimately, then I just feel now that the board have kind of let us down of somehow take away the fun away from this season. Like, we know we were going to come up against tough teams. We know probably we were going to get a couple of slaps, but it just feels like we didn't do enough to try and help ourselves prevent the situations that we're going to find ourselves in. Like, we could be at home and they'll all look. I'm going to the Bournemouth game next week, and I was talking to Stephen, who's coming as well, Stephen Bourne, and we're saying we'll probably find ourselves at home against Bournemouth and then they'll all draw and not being able to break them down. And that's where it's going to be more frustrating rather than your Liverpool, your Man United, your Chelsea, Man City, whoever it may be. It's them teams in and around us. That's 100%. Where I'm going to find it more frustrating.
100%. Like, we come back and we play Fulham. Fulham are a very good side, so it'll be difficult to get out there. And then we go to Wolves, right? Wolves is a game we should be looking to win in. But if it's 0-0 and you just think, because I genuinely believe, had we had a creator or some better players in the final third against Newcastle, we score. I think against Everton, we don't need a penalty. We score. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, the more I'm trying, because I just get angry, man. Just get angry.
That's why I'm sitting there quiet.
Yeah.
This is this is big for us, right? Like as fans, you're excited, and they've just ripped it all out. Like, and then it's the nature of the comms that they put out. You just think, do you think we were born yesterday? Do you forget what you said 6 months ago? Because it sounds like you do. Do you know what I mean? So it's just frustrating.
Prague as well, Joe, because obviously Prague before the Everton game as well, it was the first real slip I think we've seen a Prague that we always kind of, and rightly so, we always kind of compared them to the previous regime under Radrizzani, who was, look, it was always on Twitter. You know, we heard everything, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, everything Radrizzani was having him. I think we kind of hated that as a football club, is that we're hearing everything. We're run like a League One club. Then the 49ers take over. I know if you've watched some of your stuff as well, and I was under the same understanding that, you know, we're going to be solid foundation here. The stadium developed and we're going to be run like a Premier League club. And then seeing Parag doing that interview, and it wasn't so much what he said, but it was like kind of seeing him in front of the cameras. It was like, this is new. This is new for him, because he's someone that doesn't really do stuff like this, obviously, apart from our own one. But to come out and say what he said, Joe, put us under a little bit more pressure, saying, you know, we know that he's absolutely certain that there'll be more additions towards the tail end of the window the last weeks and days, and ultimately that was just James Justin. So from what Robbie Evans is saying, everything that came out in the Q&A, to what Parag told us live on Sky, again, there's no cohesion there, and you're like, lads, you need to be on the same time. If you're going to be giving out the spitball on the same thing, we need to be saying the same thing.
Yeah, 100%.
This probably sounds a bit harsh, though, to be fair. Like, no disrespect to Americans, but it seems to be like they can, you know, talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk. They're just more or less putting a load of things into our heads as fans to make us believe. And I guess Joe said there, we weren't born yesterday. Like, it was such a shit show towards the end of the window, and it started off so well. And to be honest with you, I just feel so bad about Daniel Farke, lads. I really do. Because not once has it happened. It's happened with Norwich, and now potentially could happen again with Leeds.
It's going to be interesting to see his press conference in it pre Fulham, because the last time we heard from him, he said, I need 2 players. He said, we won't wave the white flag. It's going to be tough. So it's going to be interesting to see what he says. Because Farke doesn't, he very rarely sets the cat amongst the pigeons. He comes out and he might give little bits. But he doesn't like come out and say, I've demanded this. They haven't given me this. Do you know what I mean? Like some managers would. So it will be interesting to see what he says. Because he can't come out and hammer it too much, because the players will be like, well, we're still here, you know? We, you know what I mean? Like, we can still do a job. But yeah.
Like, Dylan was obviously
we should have swapped Josh Sargent. We should have swapped Josh Sargent for Piroma.
The ginger Messi, we should have got them. And I remember when you first came out, I was saying, no, Joe, we're not going to that yet, are we? But now I look back and look, he was right. Why did we just get Josh Sargent? Why didn't we sign him? Which, yeah, like I said, it turned into such a, you know, underwhelming window towards the tail end. Like myself and Dylan, a bit like yourself, Joe, where, you know, coming up towards deadline day, I felt like we get something done, like at least a hammer. Like even the day of deadline day, when Baron Cross put out that tweet, Leeds are looking to get 1, but there's no guarantees. And I was in work losing. I was like, 1? We're only getting 1. We ended up getting nothing at all. But look, I thought we'd at least get a hammer as well. Like, you know, championship player in a struggling Sheffield United side. Like we couldn't even get like him over the line as well. But we'll take it back to the very, very start of it, Joe, was obviously the appointment of Adam Underwood. When he first came in, there was question marks over, you know, is he qualified enough to do his job? At the start of the window,
No.
there was obviously questions. He got decent window. Everyone was like, Adam Underwood's unbelievable. Do we look back now and think, yeah, we probably shouldn't have done that?
Bro, I said Adam gives me wood.
Yeah, you did.
That's the thing with YouTube. You say stuff and you can't, you know, it's clipped.
There forever.
Yeah. But that was because I got excited about Pie Shower, right? But I just think, do you know what hasn't helped them? They've got all, and it's probably Inexperience, all the messaging's been wrong all the way throughout, man. Like initially they told us we like this player, but we think it'll be difficult because he'll go to a Champions League club. Then Diarra goes to Sunderland. Then, you know, we like this player or we won't get him. Then they came out and said, yeah, we're in. And they went all out and told everyone. Then they told people nothing. And I just think at every turn, the comms like has just been piss poor, even to the point yesterday when we heard from that guy Evans. I just think it's they haven't helped themselves, and I think they've shown naivety there. So it also makes me think, what naivety have they shown in the boardroom to try and get deals over the line? Like, to put a deal sheet in and Fulham to then go, what are you talking about? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what? That can't be happening at the top end of the game. Surely it can't. I know people make mistakes, but they're coming out and briefing our press. Well, Fulham, they gave us the impression it would be all right. Then Fulham were like, we told you mid-afternoon. Whoever's lying, but even still, just to put a deal sheet in and expect them to sign it, it was like, well, I don't know, just inexperience.
But it makes us look like pure clowns.
Exactly.
Like, it just, and that we haven't a clue what we're at. And obviously not us per se. We're only the fans.
Dylan, that I was saying, this brings me back to the Rajasani, Kinnear and Orta. It makes it feel like we're running League One club again, doesn't it? It's just like, I thought we would have conducted ourselves a little bit better, show ourselves in a better light.
It's just been annoying with these owners when they come in and they give us false hope. Yeah, they get give us good times and we get promoted, and the parade, the Champions Parade, and all those quality. And I've said it numerous times, and I'm a firm believer of it. Is Leeds like a woken giant. We're ready for this, and then they go and pull off a transfer window like that. It's just, you know what I mean. Like,
Leeds that. Yeah, absolutely. It leads that. So look, at all that said and done, there's nothing we can really do about it now, Joe. We kind of just have to ride the crest of the wave now for the next 4 months. There's no doubt there's going to be plenty of ups and downs over these next 4 months. I'm saying 4 months because I'm hoping he's lying about January and we've won in the door January the 1st.
Yeah.
But overall, Joe, like, is there hope there? Do Leeds United have enough, do you think, to survive, or is it all doom and gloom?
No, we can stay up still. There's I don't know if there's worse squads, but there's worse teams than us right now. We've shown that. We've got 4 points and we've played Arsenal, Newcastle, and Everton. Everyone's glowing on Sunderland, and I get it, but they've played Burnley, Brentford, and West Ham. Do you know what I mean? So we have to take confidence from the teams that we've faced. And look how good Everton have been since we played them. So yeah, I'm still confident we'll stay up. It's just going to be harder, and the games might be like pulling teeth at times because we can't seem to create. But of course, we're going up against, I don't know about Fulham. They're a very good side under Marco Silva, but Wolves, yeah, exactly, in London as well. Even Bournemouth, right? Bournemouth are quality, but they'll come for it, which means they'll leave space in behind, and that's where we might see the likes of James and stuff and co. So, yeah. But again, they're tough tests because Iraola is so good and tactically flexible that's where Farke has to also work on that. Do you know what I mean? That's a side of his game that can let him down. And I think managers like Iraola, Herzler, these type of managers, Thomas Frank, they're changing game quite a lot.
They're very flexible. Farke is very, 100%. He's very rigid when the lineup he picks, he wants
no plan B.
Wants it out there to be proven right, doesn't he? There's no real. We've seen that.
100%.
We've seen that.
And the manager, you could argue the managers he's faced up to this point. Of course, they're elite because they're at the top end, but Moyes is pretty inflexible. I would argue Eddie Howe has his way, and that's his way. Do you know what I mean? And Arsenal battered us, right?
Yeah. Be
interested to see how he does against these managers that are known for being a bit more tactically fluid. Again, it's another test and another test for him to answer, but I'm just hopeful. That's all we've got in it, man. And like you said, they better spend in January. Better.
Yeah, I think
they have to.
Do you know what we'll spend? We'll get one striker in and it'll be Patrick Bamford.
Imagine that. Hey, God.
Yeah, all we have to do is wait and see, lads. But Joe, look, I think we leave it there. It's been absolutely fantastic to talk to you. Come on and get your thoughts over the whole transfer window. What's going over on Just Joe Football Show?
It's been a national break. It's rough, innit? I have no plans yet. I couldn't wait for break, and now I'm going, what can I talk about? Yeah, I don't know, mate. To be honest, I've got nothing planned as of yet. We'll see. I've done a Premier League prediction now. Transfer window's shut, but yeah.
Go check it out anyway over at Just Joe Football Show. Again, Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on for your debut on Leeds Bros. And you didn't stick the boot in about the Creator Cup, so that was good as well. Get me hands on that trophy next year. Anyway,
mate, to be fair, anyone who didn't watch, Darren was, I would say, Smarty was good, but Darren was very impressive. Darren was up there as one of their best players. Nice little Liam Cooper crossfield balls from centre back.
Do you remember I was losing it about the referee giving the free out when I didn't know it was a thing set up or whatever? I knew it was to me laughing. I was like, what's he laughing? Because you were annoying me even more when he's laughing. I was like, what's he laughing at me for? I was like, there's no way that's a free kick. And then I can't remember who walked over. I think it was Maxim Lee. Maxim Lee's like walks over. He's like, Darren, like it's grand. Like this is a setup or whatever. And I was like, someone gotta let me in on this. Like. But it was all fun and games, and hopefully we get to do it again next year. But we leave it there, lads. Again, Joe, thanks very much for giving up your time. Dillo, thanks as always, lads. We leave it there. Please make sure you smash a like on the stream and hit subscribe to the channel. And we catch you all in the next one. Mind yourselves, mind each other.